Madam Speaker, I stand before you today to highlight the most disgraceful failure of the Biden-Harris administration with respect to our southern border. The most important job of a president is to protect our borders from invasion of any criminal element that seeks to undermine the safety of American citizens, our communities, and our nation. President Biden, in his misplaced wisdom, determined that the best person suited for that job was not himself, but his vice president, Kamala Harris. He announced that as the border czar, Kamala Harris was competent and understood what needed to be done to protect our southern border. Boy, was he wrong in making that decision. Perhaps Vice President Harris misread the memo that stated she was tasked with protecting our border, not surrendering it. Her incompetence has made every state in America a border state, leaving local governments to deal with violent criminal gangs, thugs, murderers, sex traffickers, and drug smugglers. In recent weeks, I, along with the rest of the public, have watched the events in Aurora, Colorado with horror, as members of a violent Venezuelan prison gang commandeered multiple apartment complexes, gave the green light to kill cops, and wreaked havoc on small Colorado communities. This administration insists that our border is secure. If this administration won't do anything about the vicious gangs running rampant in our country, I will. I've introduced a bill that would compel the Department of Homeland Security to quickly detain and deport all illegal immigrants with known gang affiliations. This is a common sense public policy that would help keep our streets safe and free from the terrors being perpetrated by these animals, and I would urge my colleagues join me in this worthwhile fight. A failure to do so will inevitably result in more senseless pain and suffering for our people. The presence of the gang we saw in Aurora is not limited to that town. This group has spread like a cancer throughout our country, with incidents in Texas, Wisconsin, Indiana, Chicago, Florida, Louisiana, and New York, among many others. A recent CBP report showed that over 500,000 individuals have been flown in and paroled by this administration in a massive and largely unseen mass parole program. Kamala Harris doesn't care about this crisis, and she doesn't care about the Americans that she is hurting. She never spoke to the past two Border Patrol chiefs that served during the Biden-Harris administration. She has only visited the southern border one time during the past 4 years. That's not leadership. That's not someone trying to solve a problem. That's someone who is trying to hide from a problem that she created. This crisis has created a real heartbreak and human cost. Many men, women, and children have been targeted and victims of abuse or trafficking. Something not often talked about is the mental health impact this has on the DHA law enforcement officers. In 2022, 17 members of the CBP committed suicide. That point is that something must be done. We have a moral responsibility to right this wrong. We can start that effort by deporting the gang members that have been allowed to breed in our country. We should pass my common sense legislation that ensures that illegal aliens with known gang ties are no longer allowed to live here and cause havoc. I will fight every single day. I'm here to make that happen. I would urge all my members to do the same. Thank you, and I yield back.